It's not just to speak up, but also keep speaking until you are what? Heard. So until you speak, nobody will know your story. This is why, regardless, do not have a short mouth. Another ways, you can also speak to ladies, females, people who you meet every day. You can just tell them, this is what it is, because sometimes it takes a fellow woman to understand the pain of another woman. Why? Because we are both women. You cannot even experience singleness if you've never been loved and spoiled and abandoned. You will know what is called singleness. I was a very spoiled woman. My husband loved me to stupor. I was spoiled. I was a well-kept woman. And the work of my husband in my hands. And believe me, I've been through everything. When once a girl has been abused when they've gone through sexual intercourse, you are like a dog on heat. You are like that dog, you know, when the pitch is ready. The dog kind of knows that it's attracted. I was attracted to both male and female. I think I'm a beautiful woman. I am here not to condemn, just to tell some women, just like some of the speakers said today, you are in control of your destiny. The choices you make, how you identify, in who you place your identity is very important. If the seat is too hot for you, let something kick you out of the seats. And sometimes God provides enemies that will make you think and leave. I had wonderful enemies and they made me leave, and I'm so grateful to them.
I'm going to be talking about SDG number 5, gender equality. It is quite common for girls to be blamed where an incident of assault such as rape happens. It is too heartbreaking to see the numerous cases where the rapist goes free in the court of law and the victim is left with no justice or is blamed for the incident instead. Things like rape, assault, molestation, manipulation, domestic violence are all types of horrible, trauma-inducing situations that too many people, both male and female, have experienced without any sort of help, counseling, or therapy, allowing it to manifest within their minds, distorting them, making them lose themselves and their hopes and their dreams and their ambitions. One of the worst and most popular misconceptions is that these cases only happen to women, where that is extremely untrue. I have a story to tell. This girl I'll be calling Emily, her parents have divorced and she only lives with her mother. And one day, her mother decided to bring home a man who she called her boyfriend and all. Her mother is the only one working in the relationship, and on the day when they were left at home, the boyfriend of the mother raped Emily when she was only a little less than 11 years old. This happened 2 or 3 times more in the 5 months of him staying with them. After a year or 2, Emily finally got the courage to stand up and tell her mother exactly what happened, so she could finally get help for all the trauma she's been experiencing alone. And all her mother did was blame her by saying she was wearing skimpy shorts and tempting the man to do that to her in the first place. An 11-year-old was blamed for seducing a man in his mid-30s, and they have been so many cases of this happening over and over again. with no justice for these people at all. And I really hope that sooner or later the world will finally open their eyes and these people don't have to go through this every day of their lives. Thank you.
Abuse and assault has eaten deep into the fabric of our society. It has plagued us for far too long. And of course, if you ask me, I think it's very much underplayed because a lot of people wouldn't even come out to tell their stories. Statistics, however, has it that 30% of Nigerian women, have experienced physical violence. And it says a gulping 68%, have encountered emotional, economic, or sexual abuse. And that's according to Nigerian National Bureau of Statistics. Abuse can come in many forms, as we've heard. Every form of, physical, verbal, all sort of maltreatment, injury, assault, rape, all sort of unjust practices, crimes, many others. Then whilst both men and women may experience incidents of interpersonal violence and abuse, women are considered more likely to experience repeated and severe forms of abuse. That brings me to my story, and I've termed this my stormy experience. I hope we have that on the screen. Not yet. Okay, my stormy experience. And this happened several years ago, precisely the time of the then late head of state, General Sani Abacha. It was not just about me in isolation, but it was an experience that I had faced together with my husband. We faced it together as a couple. So at this time, I had just given birth to my first baby. In pregnancy, I had developed a complication, and I needed to do an emergency cesarean session. So I was in the hospital for 3-4 days thereabout, and then I came home just the previous night, waking up this fateful morning just to an unusual uproar. So once, I opened my eyes, I was trying to make out where the unusual noise was coming from. The door of my bedroom swung open, and before I knew it, this group of soldiers stormed into my bedroom. And I was startled. I was bewildered, wondering whether I was dreaming or I was actually awake. And they said to me, "Where's your husband? Where's your husband?" And I said, "He traveled." Then I gave them the details. He went to so-so place. He will be back, I think, the next day or so, Then they started ransacking the house all over, including the bed I was lying on. They needed to upturn the bed to see if we were hiding anything under. Of course, I had to tell them that, look, and had just done the surgery, so they needed to take it easy with me. I got off the bed, they turned everywhere and all other rooms. I didn't know what they were looking for. And of course, they didn't offer any explanation. So they went all about and then picked little things, papers, complimentary cards, photos, and they had held up my husband's photo to ask me, "Is this your husband?" I said, "Yes. When he comes back, tell him to report at the military intelligence." And they left. So apparently, they had gone to his family house in Lagos and had picked up his brother. So they were to release his brother when he turns in himself. So my husband got back then, and he was equally perplexed at what the issue could be. He looked and he said, "Look, what has it done? What could warrant that kind of raid?" He couldn't put his mind to anything he could have done. So, we were just both worried. Then he tried contacting everyone he knew that had any kind of influence at the time, to at least help find out what is happening, Of course, we got no clue and no help. So he had to turn in himself. So he said to me that, "Look, I think it's a case of mistaken identity. I will just have to go there, clarify whatever it is, and come back home." I said, "Yes, I will go with you." So I went with my baby. So I was out in the car, he went in. We lived around the Ikeja that time. Military intelligence was a papa. So he went in, and hours I was outside. And after a while, he sent me a message to say, you have to go home. They are holding me back for further questioning. I'm like, what? I was deflated. I didn't understand it. What exactly? Okay, they released his brother. So I had to go home. Little did I realize that that was the start of a 2-month journey with military intelligence. So I went home and expecting that, okay, the next day, maybe he will come in, he didn't come. And then we had the cultural naming ceremony that you do, the 8-day naming thing. I had to do that all by myself. He didn't come. So I kept expecting. And after the naming ceremony, I tell you, every day, my routine was now to make a meal, carry my baby, go from Ikeja to Apapa Military Intelligence. And I was on maternity leave. I was working at this time and I was on leave. So I would go with my baby, get there. Then they had like a little reception at the gate. And that's where they collect whatever it is that you have brought. Then they ask you to taste the food. And after that, yeah, madam, no waiting, no stopping. This is military intelligence. Start going, go, leave. Chase you away. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to run to. I talked to people I knew. My husband, this happened. Of course, people are not even sure that, hey, the best I got, people that would pray with me or pray for me. There was nobody that was ready to face the military. It was a reign of terror. Nobody wanted to come near military intelligence. So I was in this by myself. And I kept going every day. Every day I would just take a meal. Madam, go. I'll be pushed out. I'll go back to my house. Again, I will make food come the next day. I wasn't even allowed to come in. I wasn't allowed to see him. Was he even eating the food? So it went on and on. And this fateful day, I told myself that I've been 2 months on this journey. Will it continue this way? I'm meant to be going back to work. I couldn't even think straight. So I left my baby with my mom that particular day and I went alone. And I told myself that no, something different must happen. And I passed in the food as usual, tasted it. Madam, start going. Madam, I am not waiting, no stopping. No. I said, please. Say, please, Wale, please. Can I see somebody? I want to see the guy here, whoever is in charge. I said, madam, this is military intelligence. You don't come here to come and see somebody. I said, please, you know me, I've been coming every day. And I've been bringing my baby. I just had a baby. My husband has been here now 2 months. I don't even know what he has done. If I can ask somebody, maybe if you tell me what he has done, I will even feel better. Please, let me see somebody. So I kept begging until somebody listened to me and said, okay, madam, are you sure? You are sure you want to see our director? I said, yes, I want to see your director. Are you very sure? I said, yes. So, okay, come and sit down here. So I waited. I felt, okay, there's little hope. I stayed like 2 hours. I didn't care. Then when it was time, they called me and ushered me in. And as soon as I stepped into that building, I was encircled by a group of soldiers. They just circled me up, and I was like thrown in the middle. And they started cross-examining me from left, right, and center. Different questions. The first one is, who sent you? Who sent you here? I said, son, nobody sent me. I've come on my own accord. Please, I've come by myself. Yeah, my husband has been here. I started telling my story. For a whole 2 months, I've been coming every day. I've been bringing my baby. I just had a baby when this happened. So I've been coming with my baby here every day. I just said, let me even talk to somebody to please explain to me what he has done. So that they said, madam, do you think we have no job here? So you think we go about people's houses and pick innocent people up and down? I have not implied that. That is not what I'm saying. I just want to understand. If I even know what he has done, then maybe I can cope with it better. I've been trying, sir. Please, They went on and on. And after a while, one of them said, okay, you asked for this. They don't walk into military intelligence anyhow. But you walked in, you asked for this. We are going to take you to our director. And whatever it is, know that you asked for it. I said, okay. I didn't know what to expect, right? I'm like, okay. So 2 soldiers led me into the director's office. The director at the time was Colonel Frank Omenka. Wow. He cannot be, please allow me. So they led me to the director's office. It was Frank Omenka. At that time, I had not heard about him. I didn't know who he was or anything. It was later I realized that he was a much dreaded man. And he has many atrocities to his credit I didn't know. He pretended he didn't see anybody whilst we were inside, and then he looked like up from his glasses and looked at me. He said, "Pretty, to come here to challenge my authority." I said, "No, sir, I haven't come to challenge your authority." Then I started telling my stories again for time. This and that. He said, "What is my business if you have a child? Am I the one that slept with you?" He actually said that using the unprintable F words. I paraphrased to make it nice. "Am I the father of your baby?" I said, "No, sir. Please, sir." And he said, "Do you know that there are women here?" He kept ranting and cursing under his breath. Then he said, "We like to teach people like you a lesson. We like to teach people like you a lesson. So that you would know that, we are not jobless. We know what we are doing here. You can't come here to..." I was just saying, "Please, sir. Please, please, sir." Eventually, he told the soldiers, "Take her and lock her up." At this time, I was just praying in my mind. I'm like, "Okay, God, just have mercy on me today." I didn't know what to expect. So I followed the soldiers. They took me to a room and locked me. Well, one stayed with me in that room. And I was there perhaps 30 minutes, and in a surprising turn of events, the other soldier came back with my husband. I was seeing him the first time in 2 months. And this time his face was already swamped in overgrown beards. I could hardly make out that face. And they said to me, "Is this your husband?" I said, "Yes, sir." And they asked him, "Is this your wife?" I said, "Yes." They said, "You have 30 minutes. Go and get somebody now to sign him out." I was like, "What?" So I jumped out, thinking, what do I do? Where do I go? Then I remembered he had a cousin in Flour Mills. Flour Mills was just round the corner from military intelligence. So I rushed there, and as God would have it, this guy was at the bus stop. He wanted to hop into a public transport. But I called him. He jumped into the car. I took him back, and in no time we were back. They said, "Yes, we said it. This is the plot. Where did she get somebody right away?" Then that one quickly introduced himself. "Please, I work in Flour Mills." He showed his ID card. To cut the long story short, he was allowed to sign him out. And they said, "Okay, start reporting here." They gave him a day to come every week. As soon as we stepped out, what blew my mind was when I asked him, "Please, what offense did you commit? What were you accused of doing?" He says, "Lagos bomb blast." I'm like, "What? Lagos what?" He says, Lagos bomb blast. How on earth?" He says, apparently they picked up his complimentary card from somebody that was an Adeco chieftain, and then said he must be connected to Lagos bombing. Because at the time, Adeco was believed to be against the government, and they were doing things to upset the government. I said, so all these 2 months of torture, 2 months of incarceration, and my journey here for 2 months, it was all for a white goose chase, for absolute nothing. I couldn't believe it. What did I go through in that 2 months? You can't imagine the impact on me. Impaired emotional well-being to start with. I couldn't think straight. Some days I broke down crying. Some days I was stronger. I felt oppressed. I felt helpless, nobody to help me. Clueless, I didn't know what to do. Paranoid a lot of times. Unsettled. I felt caged. Even though I wasn't actually locked up. I was alienated. I felt alone, as if it was only me in the world. I felt overwhelmed. It was suddenly too much. Taking care of the baby, shuttling at Papa every day, angry sometimes, anxious, sometimes hopeful, prayerful, expectant. I kept looking out. It will come today. It will come tomorrow. Maybe next day. And the whole 2 months, my sister. Remember, I was on leave. So my leave was totally consumed, chasing what is not. In that torture, I wasn't mentally prepared to go to work. I was meant to be resuming. I was already exhausted. I needed another leave already, even when I should be resuming. I had a baby that wasn't getting attention enough. In fact, I wasn't lactating. I had to start formula quite early because of all that torture and tension during this period. My body was meant to be healing, but then I didn't give it the rest that it needed. It was difficult to focus on any self-care. What about the suspicion? We lived in a new neighborhood that we just moved into. Neighbors were not sure. You could tell the caution when they tried greeting me. I'm sure in their mind they're just wondering, what are these people into? Do we know? Better be careful relating with them.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Can we meet you?
Good afternoon. My name is Bumi Ojomo. I'm a financial consultant. I'm a trainer, speaker, and a coach. So I help people to gain clarity and make better financial decisions resulting in growth.
Okay, that's good. I see that you are one of the speakers today, and I must say that your story was quite touching and your words were quite insightful. So, how would you say the journey, how would you say this has helped or this has shaped to you to be who you are today, or that experience particularly?
Okay, so thanks for the compliment to start with. So what I learned from that experience principally is finding your voice.
Yes.
You know, coming out to say your truth, coming out to advocate for yourself, particularly when you have no one to advocate for you. So if you should keep quiet and, you know, nothing happens, but at least you need to make that little step. You need to try.
Yes.
So
Never
for me
know.
that day, speaking made a whole lot of difference, talking out for myself. And also taking that step brought me, you know, a lot more than I even bargained for. You know, so that's one thing I'm taking away. I know it takes courage. And
lot of it.
oftentimes, you know, courage is shrouded in a lot of doubts,
Yes.
shrouded in fear, uncertainty.
Especially in our community.
Exactly. But once you just take that little step, you will find the fear, you know, more or less falling off, and then the courage finds expression. So you are able to do even more than you had planned to do, just by taking a little step to start with.
So, what would you say about today's conference?
I think it's a beautiful initiative, and it's one that should be applauded, should be encouraged, because we need, you know, such education, particularly for our women. Of course, we have heard at the conference today that women are more vulnerable to abuse. You know, and assaults and all that. So we need that empowerment, that knowledge to know, you know, what we need to do to, you know, just be empowered about it so that we can protect ourselves more, you know, and we need to learn to speak out more. So I so much appreciate what Pride Women is doing. It's been awesome also listening to other speakers, listening to experiences, particularly also listening to the professionals who have come, you know, to tell us how things really are, you know, and this should be, you know, done in all other places outside of here as well.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Can we meet you?
Good afternoon. My name is Abiola Shiremeku. I'm a trainer, coach, speaker, and I'm also a counselor and a mental health therapist.
That's good to know. What would you say about this program today?
This program is a very, very important program. And for me, as a mental health therapist, I'm an advocate also for mental health. A lot of us, you know, we're not speaking out. You know, Nigeria, there's a lot of shame. You know, people thinking coming out, they'll be shamed and everything. So for me, I mean, the time has come for us. If there's something that I'm taking out from here, it is this mantra: speak up,
Speak up, yes.
speak up, speak out, and speak on. We need to start to speak out about all these things because, you know, when you're in an abusive relationship actually leads to mental health issues if not, you know, taken care of. So, but I do know that a lot of women don't want to speak out because, you know, I mean, there is you know, that uncertainty, a lot of uncertainty that if I speak out, what's going to happen to me? What's going to happen to my children? Where will I go? Especially those ones that are financially challenged.
Yes.
I mean, not everyone can be like the speaker, Ms. Maggie, who was able to return to her, you know, her parents' home, you know, when she left her husband, and then You know, she was able to start all over again. But I tell you, it's better, you know, to be alive, to speak out, to speak on, and reach out. I mean, when you reach out, when you speak out, you never know. There could be help out there. I was telling someone at the program today that I was listening to a radio of a woman who was in a mentally abusive marriage, and you know, she called in and was saying that, oh, that she needs help. And then the presenter started telling people who were listening that this woman, because of the abusive situation that she's in, needs to leave the husband's house. That we should, you know, they put on an account details and told people to start, transferring money there. And you know, I heard about the program, and immediately I also transferred money. And so the lady was able to come. And so I want to encourage people out there. If you are in an abusive relationship, please speak up, speak out, and speak on. Just keep speaking until somebody hears you. So for me, it's a very good program. I mean, this is my second time of coming, and I'm looking forward to 2025 program. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mama. I just want to ask one more thing. Yes, I'm all about speak up, but how would you advise someone who is in an abusive relationship? What step? How would you advise the person to go? What way to go if you want help? How would you do it?
Okay.
Apart from speaking up, speaking up, it's quite broad and it's relative. So when you say speak up, it's not like it's just when you speak up that your problems are solved. So what are the steps to be taken?
First of all, it was said that the markers for an abusive relationship.
Yes.
And abuse now is not just physical.
Exactly.
It is emotional.
Yes.
It is psychological. So when you have those markers, for instance, and also financial abuse.
I wouldn't say that.
There's also
Yes.
financial when you're not empowered, and your partner, your husband is deliberately, intentionally making you not to be empowered, so that you can't, in spite of everything that is going on, you stay in the home. So when you have those markers, you're not feeling well, you're feeling isolated, you're withdrawn, you're feeling sad most of the time. Normally we feel sad. There are times when we go through situations and we actually feel sad. But if you're not able to snap out of whatever thing that is wrong with you within, let's just say, 48 hours, and it goes on to 2 weeks, you know that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And so how can you speak out? This is why we're counselors. I'm a counselor, and I do a lot of advocacy. I have Instagram where I post my messages.
What's your handle now?
My handle is Abiola Shoremefo, at Abiola Shoremefo. I tell people, you can reach out to people like us. Although we charge for these services, but sometimes, when we see people who are not empowered, we try to help them. So speak out, reach out to a counselor, start talking, and so when reaching out to someone, we can tell you what to do immediately. And then we also have people that also support us. We also tell people around to say, oh, look, there's this person who is needing help. What can we do? So the first thing is for you is to speak out, reach out to someone closest to you. If you don't want to, you can reach out to your family. If your family is not helping, reach out to people, like counselors. We're all over there, on the Instagram, social media. Talk to people. Do you know of a counselor? We are there, to support you, to talk to you, to help you. And then we can also advise you to also go to the Women Affairs in Lagos State. Lagos State has this Women Affairs where they talk about, they take care of women who are in abusive relationships. So the first step for you to do, once you have these markers, once there's physical abuse, once there's psychological, I tell you, it's even the most dangerous.
Yes,
that's what that makes
people don't see it. It's not physical.
Exactly. It's not physical, but they're actually going through a lot.
Yes.
Those are the ones that actually attempt suicide. And
yes.
on the long run, some of them even succeed. So, psychological, emotional, financial, whatever thing, like I said earlier, the symptoms of abuse, or symptoms of mental issues are, isolation, you're quiet, all those things that you used to do, you don't enjoy them anymore. You're not able to snap out of a sad situation after 48 hours. Those are markers. So you're usually sad, someone is, making your life, very uncomfortable, you're emotionally not, feeling okay. It's good for you to speak to someone. Just reach out. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Vera, and I'm a senior police officer.
Okay, so what would you say about today's program?
This program has been very, very insightful. I've been attending this program since like 5 years, and since I started at Moscow.
Wow.
Because each year it keeps becoming better and better.
Okay. So what do you think about abuse? Do you think there's enough awareness about it in the country? And what would you say is the role of a Pride woman in this situation, in abuse, and how they are trying to propagate awareness for it?
Yes, the awareness is growing. I'm speaking from the side of the security personnel.
Okay.
The awareness is really growing. So I think Pride Women Conference is also contributing hugely. 5 years ago, when I attended the conference, the number wasn't this large. And I can see that the number is increasing seriously. And I say kudos to them.
So what would be your advice to anyone who's going through abuse right now? What are steps to be taken?
There's no other advice like what the speakers have said. Speak out. Speak out to people, speak out to authorities. Even if one does not listen to you, you must get another person that will listen to you and something will be done about it. So speak out is the word.
Speak out.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time.
Wherever you go, the Eagle has his eyes on you. Yes, the Eagle Online.